I'm still letting people in, but it looks like we're right at 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we could get going?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get going. Good evening, everybody. Let me get on my camera here. I'm Chuck Nozica from St. Joseph Catholic Church in Libertyville, Illinois. We're members of Lake County United. I'm part of the Social Justice Committee from our church. And I'd like to welcome all of you to tonight's discussion. What we hope to do this evening is to discuss the opportunities for repurposing the land at the old Winchester House in Libertyville, Illinois. So we will talk a little bit about the history of the land, what some of our leaders have as ideas, and then we'll kind of brainstorm tonight. It's kind of an exciting project. I think there's a tremendous opportunity here. So without further ado, I'm going to give this up to Terry. First, I'd like to have everybody introduce themselves. Let's do that first. I'm Chuck Nozica. Carl, if you could go next.
Hi, my name is Carl. I am Metro IAF. I work with mental health and criminal justice across our 4 affiliates.
Paul.
Paul Safian, NSUC.
Amy.
Amy Lawless Ayala, lead organizer with Lake County United and co-supervisor for Illinois Metro IAF. As Carl was mentioning, the 4 affiliates. It's Lake County United, DuPage United, Fox River Valley Initiative, and United Power for Action and Justice.
Carolyn.
Carolyn Parrott, United Methodist Church, Libertyville.
Akil.
Akil Syed, Islamic Foundation North.
Art.
Noparstia, Congregation or Shalom, Vernon Hills.
Kathy.
Kathy Pearson, Grace United Methodist Church in Lake Bluff.
Raylene.
Raylene Bowman, Church of the Holy Spirit, Lake Forest.
Matthew.
Matthew Smith Lobenstein, Grace Lutheran Church, Libertyville.
Terry.
Terry Slocum, United Methodist Church of Libertyville.
Elizabeth.
Liz Richmond, Church of the Holy Spirit, Lake Forest.
Deborah.
Deborah Alexander, First Presbyterian Church in Libertyville.
Judy and Dan.
Judy and Dan Brame, First Pres Libertyville.
John.
John Katz Mariani from Congregation or Shalom.
Mary. You're on mute.
Oh, Mary Causey, St. Joseph's Parish in Libertyville.
Sharon.
Sharon Starr, St. Lawrence Episcopal Church in Libertyville.
Lee.
Lisa
Anchors. Oh, sorry.
Lisa Aknoff. Elise, go ahead.
Elise Anchors, First Presbyterian Church, Libertyville.
Marilyn. Can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Marilyn and Ron Kipke, St. James Lutheran in Lake Forest.
Thank you. Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob Anthony with Community Partners for Affordable Housing.
Marcia.
Marcia Bernstein, North Shore Unitarian, Deerfield.
Loretta. You're on mute.
Sorry.
There you go.
Loretta and Jack Liskey from St. Joseph's in Libertyville, also a member of Community for the Kingdom.
And Gary?
Gary Shipacassi, St. Mary of Vernon, and Vernon Hills.
Did I miss anybody?
Yeah, there's some people missing, I think.
I just joined. I'm Martha Kimes, and I'm from Libertyville and also Community for the Kingdoms from St. Joseph's.
Hi, I'm Kitty Cole, Church of the Holy Spirit, Lake Forest.
Kay Saxvick from St. Paul's in Waukegan.
Leo, did you introduce yourself?
Hi, Leo Karras, Holy Cross, Libertyville.
Anyone else? Great, we have a great turnout. Again, thanks for everyone joining. And I'm going to give this to Terry to talk a little bit about the history of the Winchester House land and where it came from.
Okay. Winchester House had its beginning in 1847 when the Lake County Commissioners decided to purchase 190 acres of farmland to be called the Lake County Poor Farm at what is now the northwest corner of Milwaukee Avenue and Winchester Road. In the years prior to the establishment of the Poor Farm, there occurred a rise in the number of people living in extreme poverty due to unemployment and financial panics. Poor farms were places where people were expected to work to pay off their debts. The Lake County property consisted of a farmhouse and a barn. In 1850, the commissioners realized that this was too expensive an operation and proposed selling the farm and sending the poor away. Editorials in local papers discussing the pros and cons of the decision and a large number of residents protesting the sale in a public meeting caused the decision to be modified, and the farmhouse and 35 acres were retained. The next controversy was over whether Libertyville Township or Lake County would pay for the operation, and that was finally settled in 1853 by a vote, and it was in favor of the county taking over the financial aspects. This paved the way for construction of an almshouse to shelter the residents. And we're going to skip to the 1930s. Programs created by the federal government, including Social Security, Aid to the Blind, and Aid to Dependent Children program, led to the transformation of the Poor Farm system into nursing homes. And in 1940, the Lake County Poor Farm was renamed the Lake County Nursing Home. In 1973, the current 5-story nursing home was built at a cost of $2.5 million and was named Winchester House. In today's dollars, that would be over $15 million. Around 2010, Lake County was seriously considering closing Winchester House. Lake County United stepped in and pushed to keep it open while seeking other solutions. Lake County United succeeded and was invited to be on an advisory board to find a better solution. In 2011, the Lake County Board voted to seek bids from private companies to run Winchester House. This became a reality in 2015 when Transitional Care Management took over the operation. The company also announced plans to build a new facility to replace the current facility. In 2020, that brought the opening of Thrive of Lake County, which is at 850 Route 45 in Mundelein. All residents of Winchester House were moved to Thrive in July of 2020. The Lake County Board has authorized planning to demolish the 5-story building, which will bring to a close a 147-year history of Winchester House. Carolyn will fill us in on some of other efforts in the county.
Thank you. Carolyn Parrott. I'm talking about the lakefront residences in Grays Lake. Before the first meeting was even held at the City Hall in Grays Lake, an agenda was circulated, and the council was flooded with phone calls and emails saying, no, this is not a good plan. Nice idea, but not here. There would be too much crime and the police wouldn't be able to get to the residents. So after that hullabaloo, the meeting was canceled and rescheduled for another date. Lake County United and supporters could see the writing on the walls, and we decided that we would empty the room of chairs and set up stations, which we did, large visuals and experts at each one. So people could not come in and form little cliques. They had to walk around and ask precise questions and get information. That was a good start. Yes?
I just wanted to clarify, you're speaking specifically about the process of turning a vacant piece of property in Grays Lake into 70 affordable units, 55 and older. 25% of those units are for people with physical or mental disability. And I think what you're sharing is to kind of show what it takes to go from a piece of land to housing that's affordable, and some of the pushback that we experienced, and that tends to be common. And just that we have experience doing this in Grays Lake and in Mundelein, and I think your story, Carolyn, is of how we went about that is very helpful there. So I just wanted to give some background to that.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yes. So after that meeting where people walked around to stations, we were sent to the zoning committee, where we languished for over a year, or about a year. Every few weeks it continued. All of the speakers, as they came in, had to sign a clipboard whether they were speaking for or against, and we supporters scanned at that clipboard. If we saw the negative voters or the negative speakers had 8, we found another person in our group to make 9, and we did that every time. The opposition hired a very intimidating lawyer who dragged out the meetings so that they ran very, very late on little tiny points that had no point that we could see. The issues that the opposition brought up were, first of all, crime. They thought it would be like Cabrini Green. And we stated the facts, which were that it was just local seniors of the area looking for a home and a place nearby to shop. They brought up sewage. I don't know where this came from, but they said sewage would be dumped in the lake and befoul this beautiful place. But in actual fact, we were looking for green certification, which we got, and became a model for other buildings of the area. The opposition also floated a large balloon to show that the building would be too tall and tower over the neighborhood. So our architects revised and lowered the building by 1 floor. A woman spoke passionately several times about an old tree that she could not bear the thought it was going to be taken down. And we explained the landscaping that we had envisioned and the flower gardens. So each time the supportive speakers, the Lake County United people and others, went to the microphone, the opposition people would shuffle in their seats, rub the backs of chairs, tap pencils, talk, turn sideways, and everything but jeer in our face. It was difficult. The Lake County United supporters who were speaking in favor told real stories about real people who just needed a home and wanted a place nearby to shop. One even revealed her personal finances and said she was in a place where the rent was going to be raised a great deal and she wouldn't be able to continue to live there. She didn't know where she would go in 2 months. So after the zoning committee finally finished with us, we went to the Council of the Whole, which fortunately was a different bunch of board members and very fortunately a different chairperson. Before the meeting in the lobby, a co-teacher friend of mine came up and spotted me and said, well, how's it going with this long battle? And I said, Well, it's difficult because of the rudeness of the opposition. So she spoke to her husband, who was the mayor, and he then ran the meeting. And at the beginning, he announced that there would be a strict decorum, that new rules would be in place. And if there was any problem, the officers at the back of the room were willing to enforce that. So respectful silence followed. A summation was taken, the vote, it passed, and Lakefront Residences was born. We celebrated. That's it. Okay, I'm finished.
All right, Carolyn, thank you.
Carolyn, do you have that written up?
Just some scratchy notes. Why?
Well, I think it would be helpful to have. It's a good story.
Okay.
Art, if you can give us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Art Parstack. Sorry, Chuck.
That's all right. A little bit on the vision and opportunity that we're facing here.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Shaquille, you want to show the first slide?
We're doing breakout. Now we're back into the.
Welcome back, everybody.
Are you in front of a pool, Shaquille?
Lake Arlington.
I gotta get myself one of those things back behind me.
Not that hard. I can show you one time.
You're just looking at my disorganized bookcase.
Oh, I should plug in my lights. I have nice colored lights on my front porch. I put them up for Christmas like 5 years ago, and I never took them down because I just like them.
They're very pleasant, yeah. I see Rob Anthony up there.
Hi, Kitty. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I don't. So I know. I see you. Everyone is bouncing around there for a second.
So Rob, I think, would be a helpful person.
I totally agree. Hi, Rob.
Oh, hi, Marcia.
Rob.
Hi.
I was telling some of the people in my group about our affordable housing ordinance, and Rob has been working with us and helped us a lot with that. So.
I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's still in draft form. It hasn't been voted on by anybody yet, but we're getting close. So hopefully within the next few months we'll bring it to the Plan Commission in Libertyville and then the Village Board.
But Marcia is on the same kind of thing in Highland Park.
Highland Park, right. Mm-hmm. With Rob. So Rob, did it all being modeled after Highland Park's?
Yeah,
there are a lot of similarities. Yeah.
We looked at Highland Park's ordinance and borrowed a few pages. It's a good one. Yeah.
We were also working with Northbrook over the past year, and if you hadn't heard, they just officially adopted their ordinance in December. So that was a huge win there too.
Yeah.
Wow, that is huge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They've been wanting to do that for 15 years.
Yeah. It has been that long. And Rob's been working in Lake Forest also.
Yeah, I see there's new senior housing.
Yes.
Development.
Yes. Yeah.
Rob, where is that senior housing going to be in Lake Forest?
So we have 5 senior cottages right now on Everett and Telegraph.
Right, that's right in my neighborhood. Yeah.
Okay. There's some funding that we've secured to do a sort of a second wave of that for another 12 to 16 units. And there's originally we were looking at some donated land at Dickinson Hall, and it's there's actually some other land over by our original senior cottages by Everett and Telegraph, and so we're looking at a site there as well.
Okay, I think we need to get back to our agenda.
Yeah, if we can circle back a little bit, we had a great discussion in our group. Rob was part of our group too, and we looked at, I'll just talk a little bit about our group very briefly, but we looked at what could possibly be there, whether it would be mixed housing for families and seniors, whether we would have like a community center or a housing center located on the same property. Apparently there is a lot of, there's been some talk in Libertyville and at the county level, and Libertyville will have a new mayor soon, and there is a master plan that's being developed for land usage within Libertyville. So we're probably at a very opportune time to get involved with that.
Chuck, do you know the mayor, the people are running for mayor?
I thought there was only one woman that's running unopposed.
Oh, okay.
Donna Johnson's running unopposed right now. She's currently a village board member, and she's chair of the governing council at Condell. She's a retired attorney for a big insurance company.
Yeah, she's been active with the Human Relations Commission that's developing the affordable housing ordinance. So, I mean, I think she'd be a real supporter of something like this.
Great.
I'm guessing.
Right. Can we hear from some of the other groups? We'll try to go through a little bit, maybe one minute brief update on what all these different groups ideas had.
I'll be really quick, and hopefully everybody else can be quick because we have a short little time left. We had a lot of great questions. People are just learning about it. Had a lot of questions about. So I mean, it was a great and people, the three folks in my group, some excited, some still have more questions. So it was mixed.
In our group, I think there was a lot of excitement about this. There's I think in the congregations, there's an excitement in general about reaching out to people, especially what's going on with racial injustice and just the need in the community because of what's been going on in the last 4 years or so. So there's a lot of excitement. We think that there's going to be a lot of support from our communities and throughout the entire community on this. So that's the positive part of all this for us.
I sense that from our group that there would be more. There was not so much support 10 years ago, but I think now sounds like Libertyville is more open to having a more diverse housing stock.
Our group had a great deal of enthusiasm and were ready to work. Had a person who's interested in helping with getting out materials for meetings and assemblies, and another who was very enthusiastic about candidate forums and helping with delegate assemblies. And everybody wanted to pitch in.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of optimism and hopefulness, I would say, in our group. We got to talking about, potential ideas for what the land could be and how it could be utilized. But yeah, definitely a lot of enthusiasm around the opportunity.
Our group focused on what is being done around us. One of our members is involved with the Waukegan group, and Danita was in our group and shared what the success is in North Lawndale, so showing us that it's possible. So I think that's a good indicator.
So where do we go from here? I think now we need to start thinking about what this is going to entail, see where we are as far as individual commitments to making this project actually come to life. And first thing I'd like to do is if everybody could put their name, email address, and if they're comfortable sharing their phone number in the chat, that would be helpful for all of us.
Could I just make a few comments about our group? I didn't get a chance to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Kitty mentioned a couple of things. She was in our group, but we were very excited about the idea of bringing new people into the community, making it accessible, and supporting local businesses who want employees who need more affordable housing, as well as just having more people in the community. And a possible byproduct of all of this could be greater diversity, which we generally feel is a great thing to aspire to. And we did have a couple of, another thing was we'd like to see mixed income housing in that place, because offering housing at affordable prices as well as market prices. So you've got it's not just all targeted at one group or one income level, but mixed, and also possibly a mix of residential and commercial, if that's possible. So we talked a little bit about working with other groups that could help us, and one that was mentioned was Lake County Partners. So that's kind of a summation of what we talked about.
Yeah, we had a similar discussion within our group too. Obviously, Rob from Lake County Partners was in our group. So.
I thought Lake County Partners was different from SEPA.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Lake County Partners is the economic development organization for Lake County, as opposed to Community Partners for affordable housing.
Ah, okay.
Hugely different.
Yeah, there's a big difference there then.
But Lake County Partners I mentioned that just because the connection to the business community. And I think this area is such an area ripe for commercial, and they could usurp it all. So we want to develop relationships, I think, so that they don't usurp everything.
Yeah. We also had a couple of questions that came up that we really couldn't answer. One was, has there been any conversation about housing for the homeless, and how might that figure in? And another question was, what's our competition? Certainly there must be developers who'd love to get their hands on this property, and who are we up against in this endeavor?
Great questions. Yeah,
I think those are great questions.
The research that we need to dig in a little deeper on.
So what's next?
Yeah, I think I'll back it back to Amy a little bit on what's next, but I think we're going to have to start looking at, dividing up and looking at the research that we're going to need, what's available. There's lots of questions that came out of tonight's discussion that we need to start answering. We need to start looking at community input and having listening sessions, finding out what everybody, what the boots on the ground, what people think, what people that live there think. How are we going to engage them in a positive way? We have lots of work to do.
Yeah, you're right.
So, and specifically, next steps would be, we do want a team that will dig into some of the research. We do want a team that would help plan a large assembly with candidates. It'd be great to have a team that helped coordinate and organized info and input sessions. It might be where the one thing you can do is get a group of people together, and we could come and present and listen. Present would be just presenting what we know and presenting what we think is possible, and getting input. And so for some, it might be, I'll find a venue for you to meet with 20 people. For others, it might be you want to be on a team that sees that through in lots of places. For others, it would be be on the planning team for a assembly with elected officials. And then lastly is be part of a research team. So we can order it in number one. If you're interested in research team, you could put number 1 in the chat. If you're interested in hosting, you don't have to do the presentation. You would just bring 20, 30 people together, or working with your clergy or your leadership team at your congregation to host, set up meetings. So 2 is hosting input sessions. 3 would be being on the planning team to plan an assembly with candidates. And 4 would just be just doing a one-time host, or just show up when you need lots of people. And then I'll just put this last option on here. I mean, if you really want to be more engaged, I mean, meeting with one of the organizers, with Carl, with me, with Danita, so we can start to build relationships, meet with some of the leaders that have been around and done this before, Kitty and Marcia and Carolyn, and that have been involved in the past. So I would encourage that as well, to meet one another. Kathy is also someone who's been involved for a long time.
I mean, I have a question for a person who does not live in Libertyville. In terms of arranging groups at my church, is that something that you think is a good idea? I'm trying to figure out, I'm thinking how that might have, I can't see how that would work necessarily, and I don't want people to sort of spend time doing that unless they have some real relational, have relations with people, with either institutions or in Libertyville, or know people in Libertyville.
Well, I'll say this, keep in mind, this is county land. The county,
you answered my question.
The county decides, how it's used. They want to partner with Libertyville, but this is a county-wide decision. So yes, we need county-wide input. I think
that's really helpful for me then, because you don't want to, I don't want to go up and tell Libertyville residents what, Lake Bluff people think about what they should do. But because it's countywide, I think it's important to have that sensitivity, but keep that big picture as well.
Right. I do think it's important that Libertyville residents and Libertyville member institutions are at the center of it, because it's their, community. But yes, we need countywide support.
Okay, thanks.
I'll just throw in, we're not located in Libertyville, but we have congregants who live there. So that might be the case for you as well, Kathy, or not, I don't know. But my plan would be to reach out to those people that live in Libertyville. Would be the first place I would start.
No, that's absolutely right. You're absolutely right. For sure.
Good point. Other quick questions before we wrap up? If people can still add to the chat what they'd like to be part of. And while we're waiting, if you have any burning questions or comments.
Any other thoughts? Ideas?
Feelings? How y'all feel about this?
Everybody excited?
Yes.
I see a thumbs up from Pastor Matt. Thumbs up from Gary. Paul.
Go.
I will say in this 30 seconds, it is an opportunity of a lifetime. When are we going to come across this much land that's available, that's owned by the county, that has a history of being land that gives back to the community? How often does that come about? And it's in an opportunity zone where it has a very good chance of getting funding for construction. So it is really an opportunity that very rarely is available.
Amen to that, Amy.
Well, then with that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I think this was a very, very productive meeting. There's a lot of enthusiasm. And we will take a look at what we have in the chat and what people are interested in and get back with everybody as soon as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Chuck. Good job, Chuck.
Thank
Good meeting. Well
Thank
run.
you.
Yep.
Thank
Good
you all.
meeting. Ciao.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.